Unknown is yet another neat little RPG maker game, where you take on the role of an unnamed protagonist who wakes up in a strange mansion with zero memory of who he is and what he's doing there. This is where the unknown in the title comes in, and it's up to you to explore this mansion, seemingly managed by a mystery man, going by the Guide, as you try to uncover who you are and why you're there to begin with. The game then also calls you Unknown, until you can recover what your name really is. As I've mentioned many times, I love RPG Maker games. This one, which is available to play for free right now, and you can check the description for the link, is another plot-heavy game, so unless you can read Japanese, you probably won't get too much out of it. I really enjoyed it though, so let's take a look at the game and the story taking place within it. The game is basically split into 3 sections, with your goal in each section, after heading through a particular door the guide shows you to, is to find a piece of your memory. Naturally, with each piece of memory that you obtain, it triggers some flashbacks as you come to remember what happened to bring you here in the first place. The first and only door you can go through is to the left, so once you head through there, you're free to explore. This is your typical puzzle and exploration game, where you'll need to find keys to enter certain rooms, which will then give you further items that you'll need to proceed further and further into the game. These are helpfully pointed out as sparkly objects you can interact with, and there aren't too many places you can explore to begin with, so in general, it's not that hard to proceed. Simply check everything and you'll get there. Sadly, there's not a lot of flavor text in this game, which is something that can always improve a game, particularly one as story-heavy as this. Simple observations or remarks can add so much to a story with nothing more than a single sentence, but they're rather lacking here. Only a few things you interact with will pop up with a text box, and it'll generally be something as simple as, "There are lots of books lined up." It's a missed opportunity for some world building, but not a deal breaker at the end of the day either. Anyway, you'll finally end up in the basement of the first section where you can obtain the first memory. This triggers a flashback where our unnamed protagonist arrives home to find his mother isn't there, but there's a note on the fridge. She has left dinner in there because she'll be late today. "She's late every day," the protagonist remarks, and then hears a meow nearby. He imagines the cat is welcoming him home and then presumably calls the cat by name, but the name is left blank. That's the end of the memory, and he wakes up again in the main hall with the guide. The guide congratulates you on picking up a memory piece, but then warns you that the next section of the game features a killer on the loose. He's not kidding, and this is the only section of the game where you'll find yourself randomly getting chased by a one-touch killer. Interestingly, once you go through the door you find yourself in a school, and this area is quite a bit larger than the mansion you explored for the first memory piece. It also comes with the first real puzzle. In several places around the school, you'll find some writing with a shape that equals a number. Best write these down because you'll need them to decipher a code later to proceed. But whilst you're exploring the school, this killer will randomly pop up and ruin your day. A killer that looks an awful lot like you, but in a yellow jacket and more zombified. This was probably the lengthiest part of the game for me, because while you do run faster than the killer, he is definitely in hot pursuit, and like most RPG Maker games, the controls aren't exactly precise. If you're trying to enter a door, good luck being in the right spot to get it open before the killer catches up and instant game over. It'll happen a lot, but you can save at any point you want, so if you save after doing the important things, it's not a big deal. Just a minor hassle. Deep in the staff room, you can find a diary that says, "I found a cat on a rainy day. I wonder if Mum will forgive me." A free bit of lore that you should keep in mind. Eventually, you'll end up in the principal's office, so you can get a key to unlock the door to the roof. Here, you'll have to input the numbers that correspond to the shapes to open the lock, and then, up on the roof, you get another memory shard. I just can't get used to this, and I don't want to bother Mum either, the memory tells us. But I have him, so I'm okay. And you wake up. More pieces are falling into place, but Unknown still can't remember fully yet. The guide praises him for escaping the killer, but refuses to elaborate on who or what it was. He does, however, tell us that the next memory is the last one. With this, everything will fall into place. There's no killer chasing you in this final part, so again you can explore at your own pace and check everything without fear of suddenly dying. On the table in the dining room, you find a newspaper that states it's from August. There's one incident that has a red circle around it, stating that there was a traffic accident in a certain city at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Somebody was badly injured and left unconscious and in serious condition, but the name has been blacked out, so you can't see who it's referring to. In the next room, there's a door at the end of the hall that needs a code to get into, so it's time to explore again. This part isn't very large, with just a first and second floor with only a few rooms you can enter. Seems lacking, but you'll find important lore bits in these rooms that will go towards helping you proceed and unlocking the correct ending. In the bedroom, you'll find another diary with a mystery date, stating, "I wonder if he's okay. We moved here after my husband passed away from illness, and since then, I haven't seen him smile. Ever since he changed schools, he just looks sad. He's a sweet boy, so he'll be okay." Another entry without a date states, "He brought home a cat. It's the first time he's expressed a desire to do something. He finally smiled again. I agreed to let him keep the cat." This is immediately followed by, "He had an accident. The doctor says he had a narrow escape from death, but they don't know if he'll ever wake up. I pray that someone will save him." By this point, what's going on should be pretty clear. Go upstairs and there's a note on the bookshelf stating, "I'm all alone. But starting from that day, I gained a family. My master is very warm and kind, and I love him. But my master's life is in danger. The dream code prevents me from revealing my name. In order to leave here, he'll have to remember my name. I'm sure he'll remember it. I believe in him." Sure sounds like that note is from the cat, and it would appear that in order to leave this mansion, we have to remember our cat's name. Once you unlock the room on the second floor, we get even more lore dumps. Another diary on the table states, "My father died when I was young. I still remember playing with him. He was so kind and always smiling. He must have been in pain with such a serious illness, but he always waited for us in the hospital room with a smile. I haven't been able to smile since he died." Another date states, "Mum told me we're moving. I wanted to stay here so I could spend time with Dad. I have to get ready for the move." Another day states, "I still haven't made any friends since changing schools. I lied and told Mum I had. I hate going to school." After this, we get a date, August 17th. If you have a good memory, you should remember that's the same date from the newspaper downstairs. "I found a cat. He was crying all alone, so I picked him up. He's a beautiful black cat. I smiled before I could stop myself. I asked Mum if I could keep him when she got home from work, and she actually agreed." Then we have another unknown date. "You need so many things to look after a cat, so I bought them with my own money. I bought a red collar. What should I do about his name? Yeah, I'll call him blank. Because that was the day we met. I'll make his birthday the day I picked him up." Using the date we found the cat, we can finally open the lock to the final door. But we still don't know the cat's name, which is necessary to break free. We only have a hint that we named him something because That was the day we met. Either way, once you're through the door, you're told there's no going back once you open this memory. We hear rain, and we're told it's blank's birthday. I had to do some things for the teacher today, so I finished late. But I promised I'd return home early. I'll buy some toys and snacks and hurry home. I'm almost home. There's a car crash. An unknown wakes up again. He now remembers everything. His name is Kanemachi Akira, but he realizes that the guide is no longer around. Instead, there's a book on the table in front of him. It's a note from the guide. Kanemachi Akira-sama, you've done well to come this far. Well done. My job has finished, and so I'm no longer there. You can use this key to open the door and leave this world. However, before you use this key, you must remember your own name. I've no doubt you've remembered your own name by now. The final door has a trial, but it's not difficult. As long as you remember, you'll be okay. Well then, here is the key. I'll be waiting. The guide. All that's left to do is open the door, right? When you do, you hear a voice. What is the name of the family member most precious to you? And here is our trial. Of course, the family member most precious to us is our cat. And we know that we named the cat after the day we met. Here, you're given 3 options. Natsu, or summer. Rain, and pick it. If you pick the wrong option, then the voice laments that you couldn't remember and you fail to wake up. Bad end. Pick the right name and the voice urges you to return to your family, as you shouldn't be here. You wake up in a hospital room and the doctors declare it a miracle. You feel like you had the strangest dream, and it will still be a little while until you can leave the hospital, but you remember that you have to celebrate the cat's birthday, although it'll be a little late. Wait for me, Rain. Happy end. Rain is still waiting for us after all this time, and presumably they lived happily ever after. While there are definitely horror elements in this game, particularly the chase scenes with the killer, at its core, this is a heartfelt tale about dealing with loss. A boy loses his father, is forced to move to a new city and a new school, and it's only upon finding a stray cat that he begins to feel again. Then, on the way home from school a year later to celebrate the day of their meeting, the day he decided to make the cat's birthday, he's involved in a traffic accident and put into a coma. The mansion he wakes up in is a trial, and he's forced to remember all these terrible things that happened before he can wake up from the coma. And the most important detail of all, his beloved cat's name, is the final key that allows him to break free. If that doesn't tug at your heartstrings, then you may be a monster. According to the game page, this took the creator roughly 3 months to put together, and they estimate it will take 5 to 10 minutes to finish. Considering it took me over 30 minutes, that seems drastically underestimated, but you could probably do it in 10 minutes knowing exactly where to go and what to do. First time though, you're no doubt looking at least half an hour. It's not a hard game by any stretch of the imagination, and the puzzles are rather obvious and straightforward. The hardest part is easily avoiding the killer in the middle section, and that's mostly because the controls for opening doors can be a little difficult when you're in a rush. If you're not on the exact spot, then it just won't open, and the killer will catch you. If you can't read Japanese, then you probably won't get much out of playing this game, which is a pity because the story is great. But if you're studying and looking for something to practice with, then I think this game would be great study material. There's not a massive amount of text, and most of it isn't difficult either. And you can get a really heartfelt story with occasional moments of horror to go along with it. What more could you ask for? I personally really enjoyed this one, and it made me go and pat my cats after I was done. It's a story that will stick with you for a while after, and it's a nice reminder perhaps to never take things for granted. But what do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.